Welcome to Spiritual Changemakers, the podcast that guides you through tough times with practical tools and inspiring stories. I'm Andrea Thomas, your host and the Sacred Transitions Coach. Join us as we hear from spiritual changemakers who have connected with their higher power and overcame adversity. Whether you are navigating a difficult transition or seeking to deepen your spiritual practice, our podcast provides guidance to help you find magic in the change. Come on this journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and transformation with us and unlock your potential to become your best self. Today, I'm bringing you an amazing person that I have met almost 2 years ago in Mount Shasta at a retreat with Matias Di Stefano, if you have heard about him. And I'm super excited because she's also a world traveler. That's exactly how we met. And she's going to share with us, and we're going to have a beautiful conversation on how we co-create with the universe. How do you get to that place on where you really trust and surrender to co-create with the universe? So welcome, Danielle. I'm so happy you still said yes.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me for this beautiful conversation.
And before we dive deeper into our conversation, first and foremost, I want to welcome each and every one of you for joining. I really want to thank you for being here with us. And then I really want to ask you, Danielle, how would you define spirituality?
Spirituality, it's funny because people have different meanings for this word. And I believe that being in a spirit is just being connected with yourself and take the best of you to the world. Spiritual, for me, it doesn't have to do with religion. It's
Mhm.
more like the movement that you do to go inside of your heart, connect with your higher self, and then take it to the world.
Beautiful. Yes. And tell us a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do today, these days? What are you about? And what is your mission in this beautiful world that we are so lucky to live in?
Yeah. For many years, for me, it was so hard to understand this mission that I believe most of us are looking for. We are looking for what is our mission? What is my mission in the world? But now that I've found mine, I can realize that it has always been right in front of me, but it's so hard to understand. And I believe that's the same for everyone. That our mission is related to the things that we have attraction for. So spirituality, yeah, personal growth are the subjects that I was most attracted to since I was 15 years old. I was always a very curious person to understand why things happen in the way that they do and why there are so many different outcomes for people lives. And so I started to study like a religion in Brazil that is called Spiritism that brings a lot of answers of life after death and how these things work. And then I opened to the Buddhism and Kabbalah and many other kind of subjects, such as the seven laws of the universe and sacred geometry and chakras, how do they work? So everything's connected. But humans have divided these subjects in as if they were the only truth, but at the end they are all connected. And that's where I realize now, and it's been like 2 years since I found out what is my mission. What is my mission? My mission has to do with transformation, expanding and transformation. So I help people transform their lives. And I started doing that with the interior designer, which is very similar in a way that we do with ourselves. How? Because to be to be able to live in a healthy environment, it has to be an organized space. Everything has to have a home, like a drawer where you put a special kind of thing. And it's all about to put things inside the right drawers, let's say, so we can find them with our eyes closed. And I do that with the interior designer, bring harmony with to people's life. And I understood that we can do the same with our feelings. So we need to name it, release, open space with the things that we don't need anymore, throw away, get rid of it, and stay only with the things that are important for us in this moment of our lives and put them in the right drawers. So that's why I say I'm an interior designer of homes and humans because they are very similar.
Yes,
Yeah, in a
and
way.
I love how you associate them. And
Mm.
I would say as humans, we definitely live in such a consuming world where it's all about buy more, learn more. It's all about accumulating more. And I know for me, when I have started on the process of letting go, it started when I have decided to travel the world and Airbnb my home. And I had to let go of a big part of my material possessions. And oh my gosh, it was so hard. And I realized how attached I am to material things. And then I started looking out for Marie Kondo, I think, something like that. It's like how to buy things. And like she described very nicely how to create these different piles. One is like for donation, one is for selling, one is for throwing
Exactly.
out because some things are just not good anymore. And just when you
Exactly.
look at an object to ask yourself, does it still bring me joy? Does it still spark something within me? And oh my God, when I started doing that with my material things, I realized that a lot of them were dead to me. They weren't sparking anything anymore, but I was keeping them for the sake of a memory of, oh, but this I bought it from that place. Oh, but this I received it as a gift from someone. And then this is how I realized that we create these cords and attachment and the material things, they definitely clutter our mental and emotional well-being as well. And I didn't
Exactly.
realize until I had my house, it was almost empty. And I'm like, wow, this feels so light. This feels so good. So how
Exactly.
I would love to understand how does that apply more? Also, because you said you help people transform on the interior, the emotions as well. So how do we take that concept of, for me, for example, I realized when I was able to let go of these material possessions that I was like so much lighter and more clear and feeling so much better. How does that apply to our emotional well?
That's what I was going to ask you. How do you feel after you do the cleaning in your place, throwing out the things that you don't need anymore or donating? How do you feel? What is the feeling like
Wow.
that is talking to you? So you just said you felt light, you felt better because the things that we don't need anymore, they occupy space. They are excess.
Mhm.
They are not helping us. They are limiting us from new things. So it is exactly the same kind of thought that you have to your life. And one of a beautiful therapy is exactly to clear out your closet. When you do that for you, you're also working on yourself, on the feeling of detachment and remeaning the things, reframing. Do I really need this? Do I really need this? This is not who I am anymore. So this is who I was 10 years ago, but not anymore. It doesn't represent me anymore. So while you're doing this process of cleaning, and I highly recommend everyone to do that when they are working with me, the physical movement of cleaning things out is gonna bring up memories and feelings that you also will realize things about yourself in the process. So it's a dynamic process that you will understand that you can do with your emotions. So when some emotion come that you are used to have a pattern of emotion that you always have, and you realize this is just a pattern of emotion that I've had, but it doesn't represent me anymore. And so how do I want to act from now on? So now I is a decree, is an affirmation. I am like that. And you take the new idea of you and you repeat that to yourself, replacing for the things that doesn't represent you anymore. So it's, of course, it's a work. It takes time. It takes love. You gotta look that with love and patience. But it's the same kind of process. Just release the things that don't represent you anymore, and put the new things that now are more look like more with the person that you want to become or you want to be.
Yes, and I really want to add there that yes, with the physical, the material things, we don't need to replace them. We don't need to let go and buy something right away.
But you
People,
open a space
yes,
to,
because
if something that you like more, you can bring. Because if you're full of things, you don't even have space for the new things.
exactly. But with the emotions, the emotional things, and the habits, I want to point out something that you mentioned there, where it's important to replace a negative, or not even necessarily negative, an emotion that you don't want to own anymore, that you don't want to have in your life anymore, that you don't want to operate from moving forward, to replace it with something else, with something that you do want to have in your life. And this is a very because important thing to do, because this is how our also neurological mind works. It's not
Exactly.
just removing it, because when we remove it, we need to replace it. So I love that you brought that up. And yes, we need to travel light. And I still haven't learned after 9 months how to do it.
It's hard.
Yes,
It is hard.
especially when you go to different parts of the world, different time zones. And I will share with you guys a trick of what I have been doing in my travels. And I traveled a lot as well. And she can share with us her tips and tricks around how to travel better. Because what I have been doing, I literally have let go of things, like literally donating things in every single place I went. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
did purchase new things based on the time zones, because the weather
The
has
weather.
been, yeah,
Yes.
has been one of the most challenging. Like, I spent 4 months in Southeast Asia, where you almost don't dress. Yes, because it's so
Mhm.
warm, and you need to be as least as possible dressed. And then I came back to Europe, and I'm like, oh my God, this doesn't even seem like summer, because it's rainy and it's cold. And I'm like, I don't have this type of clothes anymore. So it's like letting go and
Wow.
buying what you need based on where you go. This is what I have been doing, but still challenging. I still have quite a bit of luggage, and I have things in different corners of the world, like at my parents' houses in the US. So it's still a learning in process. And I would love to hear that, Danielle, because you mentioned to me that you travel the world in sacred places where you are called. And I would love to hear about that. And how is that coming about when you say that you have learned to co-create with the universe?
So these are two different things. I've learned since I was young to manifest things very, some things are very easy to manifest. And of course, other things are harder. It is related to our belief system. I had a very intuitive way of manifesting a few things, such as meeting people that I've always wanted to meet. They were like so far away from me, important people who I wanted to be by their sides. And even our meeting in Mount Shasta was a manifestation that I wasn't even thinking about it, but it was because the universe works. The universe knows what we want in our hearts. So the only thing that we have to do is to keep that wish alive and to go with the flow, to keep yourself in a high frequency of happiness and love. And automatically, the universe is going to guide you to what is best for you and what you want to do. But of course, it's not that easy because we have concerns about so many challenges of in our lives. We gotta pay the bills, we gotta figure out many things. And these kind of thoughts, they block our prosperity when we fear, when we doubt, when we are sad, because we are looking only for the things that are present now. But the thing is, our present was already created in our past based on our pattern of frequency and thoughts and feelings. Everything that is not good in our present, it was already created. So when we are crying, complaining about our present, we are creating say, things of the same frequency in our future, bad things. So this is one kind of understanding the co-creation is you want something, you know what that is. Maybe this is one of the hardest parts because not everything is clear to understand what we want. But after we understand what we want, we just need to keep the frequency high, meaning not to worry about the things that we cannot control, accepting things the way that they are, and tuning ourselves with the frequency, higher frequencies. And how we do that? We can do that meditating. We can do that listening to nice songs that we want to dance. We can do that laughing with our friends and just putting ourselves in the flow with the universe, just letting it go, trusting that something better is right there for us. Trusting, keep trusting, because it's not uncommon for us to doubt things that are not in our present. Let's say, oh, you said that you want to travel to the world, but travel around the world. Sorry, but there is something that shows up, like saying, your visa was denied or something like that. And you start to get upset. How come? I'm sure I want to travel the world. I need to do that. I need to go to these places to meet these people, but my visa was denied. When we start to doubt and complain, we are creating things of the same bad frequency to the future. So what we should do, I like to use a tool, and I always keep reminding myself, if that didn't happen, it was a protection for me. So where should I go then? What should I do next? How can I do, what can I do to change that situation? Because I have a very deep belief that when something is for you, for your happiness, it flows naturally. Yeah. You don't need to do much. It just flows. And when you meet many closed doors, maybe it's trying to show you another way. So that's how we need to understand how to figure out the signs that the universe gives to us. And that's one of the ways to figure out, like, if it's flowing, I go in that way. If it stopped flowing, maybe I should think a different way because something better is about to happen.
Yes, and I love to use is this or something better. That's what I
Think.
remind myself. either this, what I imagine, but if that doesn't happen, that means that the universe has something for me that it's so much better than I can even envision in this moment. And
Yeah.
how do you go as a person, for example, that is so used to, and I used to be there, so used to just control everything, to try to do everything on his own. Yes, because we are taught that we have to do everything on our own, control everything, and you are the one responsible for everything. How do you move? What would be those first steps to move from that control mode to co-creation with the universe, to trusting this flow, to trust that, okay, if I wasn't approved the visa, or if I didn't get the job, or if that relationship doesn't work for me, that means there is something better waiting. How do you even get to that place? Now, a little, maybe you have some tips, some steps for us to share.
I think is for me, it's more like a decision to believe that there is something, always something better waiting. That's a decision that I have in my heart that I want to think that there is something, always something better waiting for me. And if I'm not understanding the signs, I need to talk to the universe and ask it, where should I go now? But also, it's really important to understand the seven laws of the universe so we don't fight with the universe. You know the Kybalion, the book?
The which
Kybalion?
No, I do not.
That's
And maybe you
the
can
book.
mention, just if you
Mhm.
just want to mention briefly the seven laws of the universe, so people have like
Yes.
an idea.
I All these laws are be, uh, are in this book. It was written by Hermes Trismegistus back a few centuries before Christ. And he was a mystic, alchemistic, and a philosopher. He was big and he channeled maybe these seven laws of the universe, which us we respect a lot. And I believe that when we understand the laws, we go more in the flow with the universe. There are seven laws. First law is the mentalism. Mentalism is a law that says that everything is created first in the mind, then becomes matter, let's say. Everything that exists in matter was first created in mind. Everything could be resumed only this only one law, mentalism, the unity. Eh, We all come from one. When we understand that, we can go to the other ones, other laws, which are respondence. I put here in English because I don't really know in English. So correspondence, right? Correspondence, meaning that everything that is above is was below. So everything that has up in the other dimensions in heaven is the same here in our world. And the third is the principle of vibration. Nothing, this universe is still, everything has a vibration. Even the solid objects, if we take a microscope and we split like a little frame and look in the microscope, we are going to see the molecules moving very slow, but they are moving. So everything in the universe is a vibration of energy, either a fast kind of energy vibration or a slow kind of vibration, which is a solid. So if everything has a vibration, everything is always moving. We are always creating vibration with our thoughts, with our words, with our actions. But this is another subject that comes the law of attraction. But we can talk about the law of attraction later. So we don't lose the thought. The other principle is the polarity. Polarity is everything has a positive and negative to balance. So it starts with our electrons, positive and negative. and it goes to all the subjects in our life. We need to understand that life is not going to be only positive. The negative parts are necessary for us to grow and to evolve, because if it was only positive, would we have motivation to grow? I don't think so. We wouldn't be challenged to grow. So that's a polarity principle. The fifth is the rhythm. The rhythm is a very important principle for me that explains a lot. So we can imagine the rhythm as the pendulum. Imagine we have a pendulum here, and sometimes the pendulum is to the positive, sometimes it's to the negative, sometimes to the positive, and this pendulum never stops. It never gets stuck here and never gets stuck there. Also, as the stock change goes up and down, always. It doesn't stop on the high, it doesn't stop on the lows. Everything that goes up goes down. So this is the rhythm. So when we are facing challenging times, let's say our pendulum is to the negative, but we just need to hold and learn and study and go inside, because we know the pendulum is going to go to the other side again. And then we enjoy, we are more extroverted, we are feeling, of course, even more blessed. But we know the pendulum is going to go back. But if we understand that when the pendulum is on the negative side, it, we have more wisdom to deal with the situation. It takes us out of that zone of controlling. We just wait, we meditate more, we focus more on ourselves, we look for answers, and we know patiently that it's going to go back to the other side. And this is life. It's a law. We cannot change it. And then we have the principle of cause and effect. Everything that we think, we do, comes back to us, has a consequence. And it doesn't have to do that God is going to punish. It's not about God punishing nothing. It's just a law of the universe. So when people say life is not fair, this is not a true. The universe is super really fair. There are laws that govern, that make sure that everything that was planted, was seeded, it's gonna like harvest. So this is a law for sure. And that brings us the awareness of our thoughts and what we do with our words, with our actions, with our intention. Because what commands our life is the intentions. What rules our lives is the intention of our thoughts. And for the last but not least, we have the principle of gender. Everything in the universe has a gender. And when I say gender, I'm not talking about woman and man, but masculine and feminine, yin, yang, energy, polarities. This is energy. The, everything, they have to do with the gender. Yin and yang are two gender, feminine and masculine energy. They, each one of them, they have their own characteristics. Let's say young is more active, is more outside, is more like taking decisions. Let's say this is one way of explaining. The in part is more like receptive, more nourishing, more intuitive, and it's a long conversation. I would recommend everyone to study about the genders, and it's a very deep conversation. So these are the 7 laws: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender.
And gender. Yes, and with the yin and yang, it's also what I have learned in, I think in that Tantra workshop, they were explaining how the masculine, it's more about the quantity. Yes, the quantity, and the feminine is more about the quality. That's we
Also, as well.
and she
Exactly.
cares more about the quality. And you mentioned something we on the correspondence law that the above and so above, so below.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I also have learned a phrase here from one of my mentors that I want to share with our audiences is it's saying as within, so without.
Mm.
And I
Yes.
love that
It's the same.
phrase because it really explains so beautiful how as we experience, like we experience on the outside and what we experience on the inside. And the outside is purely a reflection of our internal world. And of
Exactly.
course, with some, not in every single case, but in our day to day life, in how we perceive the world.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
why I tell people so many times when we have, for example, more deep conversations and certain people try to impose their point of view onto someone else, especially like on partners, on friends, and so on. And I always tell people it's so important to understand that is your truth because that is your perception based on your history, your life experience, how you grew up, the society, the parents, and so on. It's your truth. And that doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but it's understanding that each and every person you are going to meet throughout your life, that they are going to have their truth as well.
Exactly.
And if we come into our conversations from this perspective, on not trying to impose our point of view on someone
Mhm.
else, but understanding that everyone has their truth, I think we would be able to have much more meaningful and
Conversations. Yeah.
relationships and conversations, and we wouldn't be afraid, no, because a lot of people are afraid to really even stand for their perspective or their truth or sharing.
Yes. We are too concerned of being right or wrong. That's enough. Matthias says that we humans, we created this word right or wrong, but it doesn't really exist in the universe. It's always polarity exists,
Mhm.
duality exists, but not right or wrong. This is a terminology that we humans created because we need to define things and also to be able to control society. This is wrong, this is right. So we are stuck in this kind of thoughts. The most important thing that we need to understand is there is always a consequence for what we do. This is really a law, as we just said. But it's so true that when we learn something new, we want to share with somebody else and we want to expose that this person sees it and accept that truth or that thought or that wisdom. But the truth is, maybe the person is not even ready for it. Maybe this truth is so far away from what this person believes. And it's a part of our evolution to let it go without imposing things. And I'm telling you that because I'm learning that too. It's not that I've always knew. I've always wanted to bring the truth that I learned in these places and share with people. And people are like, "No, I don't believe that." And I was like, "How come you don't believe that?" It's so obvious. It's no. But I believe the best path to go, and it's what I encourage people to do now. It's open yourself to listen to whatever you are attracted to, and you make compile like of everything that you learn, and you make your own truth. Listen to everything and choose your own truth. What makes sense to you. You shouldn't just believe people. You just listen to people, but you decide what is your truth. And we respect everyone's truth, and that's it.
exactly what resonates with you. And also, when you go about wanting to change someone else, the most important thing to remember is that the biggest change you can create in the world is through changing yourself. Like for you to become your best version, your best self. And when you focus on that's when you are able to create a ripple effect around you. Because that's when people are going to be curious and they're going to be like, oh my God, you are so different. Or wow, what have you done to achieve all these things in your life if they come across in a material way? Or what have you done to travel the world or whatever it is? But when you live your best life, that's when those that are inspired by you and desire a change within themselves and are ready for that are gonna it's going to create a shift within them as well.
For sure. I believe that is the only way. There is no other way than rather than that. Be
Yes.
your best self. And even when we are being our best self, we are facing challenges. It's not that we
Oh,
don't have challenges.
because life is not about just by becoming your best self, by healing, by being on a healing journey. It
It is
doesn't
all the
mean,
time.
yeah, it doesn't mean you're not going to experience hard times or challenges or so on. No, you are going to experience all of those things, but it's a matter of how are you going to relate to them? How long are you going to stay in a more darker moment to say? This is what it's about. It's not about not experiencing them ever, because as
Yeah.
Daniela just shared, the several laws with us, we always going to experience this polarity. We always gonna,
Always.
because this is how we grow.
Exactly.
This is how we learn. And what can you tell us about? I know you said also law of attraction, and law of
Wow.
attraction is such a big word. It's such a
Right.
big where I know a lot of people started on that path when they watched the documentary The Secret.
Me as well. Me
You as well. But as we know, a very important ingredient was missing from that
Yes.
documentary, which was action. Because in order to co-create with the universe, you have to take action as well. It's
Yes.
not enough just to wait for the universe to bring you on the couch your dreams and your desires. You have to take action.
And also being the same frequency.
Yeah,
They don't mention that over there. That I believe The Secret was just an introduction to create some curiosity, and it helped for me, it worked for me. That's how I wanted to go more deep into. But the Kaibalion, which is that book that I just mentioned, that is such a ancient book, which I highly recommend it. That's I believe The Secret came from the Kaibalion. And the law of attraction itself is a law that, such as gravity, that is always working all the time, and it works accordingly with our vibration, with our frequency. Let's say every color has a frequency, every word has a frequency. So how we measure that? There are many kind of ways of measuring the frequency, but there are many frequencies that cannot be measured. So, because we don't have equipment that are sensitive enough to measure the frequency. But the frequency is energy that vibrates is the velocity that the energy vibrates. So let's say if something vibrates slow, you can see it's like solid. But if it vibrates really high, at some point your eye is gonna miss because our eye is not capable to see that. But as much higher is the frequency, it's less visible to our eyes and is more subtle. So David Hawkins was one of the people who figure out that our emotions have different frequencies. So he created like a conscious, I don't know how to say in English, but a word shed.
In Spanish, and I will translate it.
Like tabela, conscience tabela.
Like a table,
And
like
there's a kind of scale of
yeah.
conscience. Like he divides the emotions such as sadness, shame, guilty, anger, courage, and apathy. What else? And then goes up to the goodwill, to love, happiness, and illumination are the highest ones. The law of attraction makes sure that brings to us more of what we are feeling and vibrating. So that's the thing. Nikola Tesla, the engineer, has found out that the Earth has a magnetic field, and such as we also have a magnetic electromagnetic field. Exactly how the Earth works. So it's an invisible field of energy that our eyes don't see. But you can Google it. You're gonna see. I had a picture of it, but I don't know how if I could. I don't think I can share with you because I was invited by you, but I have it here. You guys can Google it. It is electromagnetic field of humans. So it's an energy field that is always showing our vibration, our frequency. So when we have happy feelings, happy thoughts that become feelings, we are vibrating like a magnet to prosperity and good things. Because the law of attraction always brings more to our field that we are emanating. The electromagnetic field is made of electricity, and magnetic means that it's bringing to you electromagnetic field. And that's how the law of attraction works. That's why we gotta work on ourselves to have positive thoughts. And then we go back to the secret. If you have positive thoughts, if you think of what you want, you're gonna tune yourself in the vibration on the things that you want to manifest, and it's gonna come to you. But it's not about think about it only once and then never think again. You got to be in the field, in the flow with your wish. And also, one thing that is really important that I found out later, that we should not do that to anything that we want, like silly things. We got to do that with our hearts, the things that our heart really desires. It's not just like an ego thing. Oh, you can do as an ego thing, but it's gonna feel empty. And I don't do that because I forget about the things that are silly. I can do that for one day, and the other day I already forgot. I don't even remember what was the thing. But everything that I really wished with my heart, it manifested. Like we got to put ourselves in that state of I really want that. I It's the anger thing. It's like in your heart that you want to do that. That is part of your mission, your path. It's hard to explain. And then when you recognize it and you say, okay, now I'm gonna focus on that. What can I do to make it happen? And it's what can I do to make it happen? That's when the action comes to the situation. You got to do. If you want to travel, you got to buy the tickets. You cannot just go there by thought. You want to travel, you got to find a good flights. You got to find a good place. But when you are aligned, because with the universe, because you are vibrating in a high frequency, the universe is gonna pop up to you good opportunities that you're gonna see. You're gonna see. The thing is, everything is around us, but we only see what we are in the same vibration of, in the same frequency. So when we tune ourselves to higher frequencies, meditating, doing affirmations, journaling, listening to music, dancing, you set a moment for you to put yourself in a high frequency. And then you take that energy to go to your day and you look around and you see the opportunities. It's about that. The co-creation is about seeing the opportunities the universe is bringing to you.
Yes, I hear you saying to put yourself into a high frequency by doing different practices. There are so many out there. Yes, as we have shared so many throughout this podcast as well. Just do what brings you into a higher frequency. Choose, and it might be different every single time. But then the next step is okay. Now you have opened yourself up to see the opportunities for what you desire. And then once you see the opportunities, it's about acting on those opportunities. Because if you just notice, if you just see them, but you don't act, then nothing is going to change. And another thing I would love to bring here around the desire is just so you know that if you have a strong desire for something in your life and it hasn't manifested yet within this physical world, know that there is a reason why you have that desire. And then how it would be if you would start thinking that desire wants you as well. That there's just, you both want each other.
Yes, I've heard many people saying that already. Like, whatever you want, really wants you back.
Exactly.
So
And
we also belong to the desire.
exactly. Because if not, you wouldn't have it there. Because we all have different desires. If you look into the world, we all have different desires. So this is where also the trust, I would say, and the co-creation with the universe comes, knowing that, yes, the manifestation, maybe it hasn't shown up because timing, it's something that I would also say it's important to release and trust in the divine timing. Like I have desire to travel the world probably since I was 17. And I started doing that at 30, 32 years old. So it was many years, many challenges, many obstacles, a lot of life experience until I got to the point of traveling the world, fulfilling my desire. But it is going to happen, and it's important to release the attachment of when it's going to happen.
Super important.
Danielle, we are very close to our ending of this beautiful, amazing podcast episode. And I'm so excited. And you said yes. I enjoyed so much our conversation. And I know a lot of people are gonna get so much out of this. And what is the last thing you would like to leave people with when it's about co-creating with the universe?
You cut out a little bit, but I imagine you asked what was the last thing that I would like to share about co-creation? Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
I would say first, everyone should read the Kaibalion if you feel like, because it's a very nice start point, and also try to get in tune to yourself to understand your wishes. Whatever is happening in your life that is not good, that you don't like, is showing the way that you should go the opposite way. So whatever happens that we don't like, it serves to show us the way what we want. So knowing what we don't want points the way of what we want. So instead of us to get stuck on the things that we don't want, complaining, thank them and say, okay, I don't want that. I know that I don't want. So what do I want? Oh, I want the opposite. I would say that, and stay in tune with yourself. No one knows what is best for you more than you.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you. I appreciate you. I believe in you, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for tuning in to Spiritual Changemakers podcast. To stay connected and help us reach more people like you, please subscribe, follow, and leave a comment. Join our community of spiritual changemakers on social media to connect with like-minded individuals and continue the conversation. Remember, the power to create positive change is within you. Keep showing up as your best self, and let's keep the magic of change alive. Until next time.